mentions of blood, the code to his heart. An important mission was coming up soon. Not like that was a change for the Mafia. You were used to the high demand of your skills. Despite not having an ability, your intelligence, on the other hand, was just as valued. A group of hired ex-soldiers had been sending threats to the Mafia recently, and were well in hiding. You had been tasked with devising a plan to get to them. Lead the organization's top fighters to the base, so they could wipe them all out. Frowning, you looked down at the documents before you. You had a few spies under your control, and they'd all given the same information, a set of codes. You sighed, catching a certain someone's attention. "What's up, Lion?" Chuuya asked, looking over your shoulder. You tensed slightly at the appearance of your crush, but remained calm. "My contacts have all given me the same set of codes, which apparently will lead to the ex-soldiers," you explained, eyes looking over the complicated sequence. "Like, damn if I know how to solve that. You're the cleverest person I know. You can do it," he encouraged, smiling. You felt a blush form over your cheeks and nodded. With his words, kind and determined, you feel as if you could do anything. "Okay, I'll get cracking." You grinned, tugging your pen from the holder on your desk and focusing on the code. Chuuya nodded behind you, watching you work for one more moment before leaving the room. He put all his trust in you. Not that you knew it. Chuuya knew you were dedicated and clever. Sometimes he even wondered if you were more valuable to the Mafia than he was. Every single attack you've strategized has always been a success. Not only that, but you were the one to gather the clues, information, and secrets, which all led to your plans. Chuuya really respected you, and there were few people left he even bothered to call his equal anymore. Eureka! You finally cracked the immensely complicated code after 3 days of little sleep, leaping from your seat. You walked quickly through the building, thinking fast. You knew the perfect way to approach the attackers. They were situated at an old military camp outside of the city. When you located it on the map, the base was highly guarded, and you had a large wall around the entire circumference of the territory. However, you had a plan, and a good one at that. After studying the area, you noticed it was oddly close to a cave network on a nearby beach. You could easily assume that a secret tunnel worked as an escape exit from the base to the shore. As if to confirm your suspicions, you spent a day watching the shore, and sure enough, boats would come and go in a certain order from the location. The code had given you the times as well as the base's location. Bingo. You waited patiently as Mori revised your attack plan. The man was silent before a dark grin overtook his expression. "How did you manage to figure all this out?" "I don't know, but the plan is genius and I approve. I'll alert Chuuya, as well as the rest of our men." "Well done," the leader said, as pride flowed through your veins. Nodding, he handed back the documents and you bowed, turning on your heel and left the darkened room. The attack was officially underway, led by none other than yourself. You didn't have an ability, yes, but you had skill with a gun. The mission required you to go, so you didn't have a choice. Strapping ammunition to your belt, as well as a knife, you kept your main gun close to your side as you waited for Chuuya to meet you. Step 1. Use the Mafia's boat to travel to the location earlier than you planned and take out the arriving boat before it gets to the base. Step 2. Under disguise, dock at the cave system. Step 3. Navigate the cave up to the base, wiping out anybody in your way. and take over the base. Step 4. Confront the leader and kill him. The plan was simple, yes, but the preparation for it had been the hard part. You were confident this was going to work. Hey, what in? Ready for some sailing? Chuuya made you jump as he approached you. You nodded and smiled. Definitely. I've already input the coordinates we need to follow. I hope you didn't get seasick, you replied, boarding the boat and heading into the cabin. A few seconds later, you felt the boat rock as several men climbed aboard. Chuuya took his position at the bow of the boat, ready to drown the enemy's yacht. The rest of the men at the hull, port, and starboard, holding guns of all sizes. You manned yourself at the controls, and just as a few dots of rain began to drip from the skies, the engine whirled to life and you sped off. You were alerted when the radar of the control panel began to beep. The enemy boat was in range. Sticking your head out the window, you began to yell, "Chuuya, the enemy is close. Activate your ability," you said before turning to the men. "They might fire at us, so be ready," you warned. Turning back to the wheel, you accelerated forward as the rain above you grew even stronger and the waves rougher. The dot in the distance was becoming larger and larger now, and you saw Chuuya raise a hand. Eventually, you pulled up beside the boat. The soldiers on it looked stunned at the sudden arrival of the mafia and scrambled to get guns. Chuuya didn't give them time to. With a smirk, he raised his hand, distorting the gravity around the boat. Then, clenching his fist, it was yanked downwards, hard. A wave swallowed it whole, and the entire boat was driven underwater. "Good job, Chuuya," you called as he gave you a thumbs up. Admittedly, a little soggy from the rain and salty seawater, you sped up again, your next destination being the caves. You were thankful it was dry when you arrived. Leading the way, Chuuya was close behind you. You were obvious to his proximity as he remained behind you defensively. Darkness shadowed the area, and a chilling breeze echoed through the rocks, pulling the gun from your belt. Everybody had come to trust in you. If you made one wrong turn, it might forfeit the mission. But your work had paid off. Just as you'd predicted, a tall metal door sat embedded into the stone with a military seal. "How did you know this was here?" "Jeez," Chuuya whispered. "Good instincts, I guess," you replied, tone hushed. "Sometimes I think you're too good not to have an ability. Damn." Thinking back, you recalled the code. There had been a set of numbers which hadn't fit in the sequence. A keypad sat attached to the door. You focused intensely, running your fingers over the keypad. Everybody waited patiently, and you closed your eye-colored eyes for a moment. 6471. You typed the number in quickly, and sure enough, the numbers flashed green and the door beeped, then emitted a loud click and swung open. Chuuya's eyes were wide. How did you know that? Of course, you just made a lucky guess. Now you had full access. You kept your head low and ventured inside next to Chuuya, holding your pistol steadily. The troops behind you did the same. The walls were clean and made of metal, meaning your footsteps echoed slightly. Taking precaution and focusing on hearing for enemies, everybody proceeded in deeper. You hadn't been going for long before a pair of soldiers, guards you assumed, stood a little ways before you. Raising your gun, you aimed and took them down. Crimson blood pooled out beneath them as you moved around their bodies. You were close to the base now, and a huge set of doors sat before you. The same keypad was attached. Inputting the same code, they opened again, and what greeted you sent a shiver down your spine. The base was completely empty. Why was it empty? You advanced anyway, hiding your suspicion from everybody. "Men, position yourself around the base. Chuuya, follow me," you said, nodding to him as he prepared his pistol. The two of you approached the main building and you let him take over. He took down the door and the pair of you charged inside, only to skid to a halt. A huge brute of a man clad in green camouflage patterned clothing stood with his arms crossed. His head was bald and a long scar ran down the side of his face. And the worst part? He manned a machine gun. "Die, motherfuckers," he yelled as the cigarette on his lips fell away. You were frozen in place, defenseless. The man uncrossed his arms and grabbed the handles and began to fire. You were hit in the leg, and a cry escaped your lips. Before any more bullets could reach you, though, you were tackled to the ground, a strong body against you. "Are you okay?" Chuuya called above the gunfire, to which you weakly nodded. He spotted the blood quickly staining your thigh, and frowned. His worried expression quickly morphed to rage, though. He looked up at the man who'd ceased his firing momentarily and growled, "How dare you hurt Wyan, you bastard!" He leapt to his feet, ability in full action, and raised his arm. The machine gun was thrown into the air, crashing against the ceiling, and he turned his attention to the old man, who charged at him full speed, almost like a raging bull. "Chuuya!" you screamed. There was no way he could take on such a huge guy, right? The small man met the enemy at full force, steadying himself before swinging a well-aimed kick to the side of the man's chest. Winded, he coughed as Chuuya wrapped a gloved hand around his neck. His strength was incredible, but you assumed it to be the ability's effect. He lifted him off the ground, legs dangling, and then slammed him against the wall. You never should have doubted him. A second later, the small man slowly closed his fist, the gravity around the man becoming denser and denser before. Stumbling to your feet, you tried not to look at the bloody mess as you limped toward Chuuya, who took heavy breaths. "Chuuya?" you asked, voice hoarse. He turned to you, expression of rage fading, replaced with concern. He closed the gap between you and grabbed your arm just before your leg gave way. His azure eyes was pinned to you. "Are you okay?" you questioned, worried for him more than yourself. "Idiot. Of course I'm fine. You're the one injured. Come here." He opened his arms and you gladly pressed yourself into his embrace. Your heart was racing in your chest and the pain in your leg was indescribable, but being close to him numbed it, just for now. Damn, I'm so stupid. I had no idea he'd be here expecting us. You felt guilt beginning to claw at your chest, causing a familiar wetness to form at your eyes. I almost got you killed. Your voice broke at that moment. Silently, Chuuya pulled away, looking down at you. What you thought was going to be an irritated gaze was a sad, calm one. Without even thinking, he began to lean forwards, hardly aware he was doing it. Then, his lips were upon yours, and you completely forgot about your guilt. It was as if time had stopped moving, just for now. You quickly realized you loved this man. Dumbass. This mission was still a success. Let's go tell the boss the good news. Chuuya suggested softly. You didn't want to speak, afraid if you did, you'd cry for a different reason. You didn't know if you deserved his kindness, but it made your heart swell with happiness. You were surprised when Chuuya swept you into his arms, strolling out of the huge room casually as if you were as light as a feather. He noticed the blood streaming from your leg and sighed. You're gonna be bedridden for a while, he said. Yeah, I guess I'll be the one to look after you then. He grinned now, watching your cheeks grow red. Only, of course, you didn't mind. If it'd been anybody else, you would have objected. The only person you wanted close to you right now was Chuuya, and it seemed as if your wish was about to come true. Sorry, I keep going I don't even know how to explain what I'm doing, like, on and off. But this week is testing, so like everybody's testing, and then I have work after school, so there's that. And then we have to go pick up my brother, which actually we came straight home, but I wanted to read a little bit. Yeah. And then I still have, oh my god, I still have to work on a lesson plan for my AP history class. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was requested quite a while ago, and I'm barely getting to it, but I hope you enjoyed it. Anyways, I'll see you guys sometime this week, I promise. Have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, whenever you are, and I'll see you guys, like I said, sometime this week. Bye everyone.